So, we already talked about EA, and EA has their whole day to themselves on Saturday. But if you're on the East Coast, we then move on to Sunday to see two companies, the first of which is a big one, Microsoft.
Now, this is surprising because Microsoft usually does theirs on Monday.
Yeah.
But I guess they decided they wanted to be before Sony, and so they decided, well, we'll have a whole day to themselves on Sunday. There's so many days in the week. Only like, what, 7?
Only 7.
7 days.
Last I counted.
And obviously the biggest reason is because they want to have a whole thing dedicated to the Xbox Scorpio.
Yes, or whatever it's called. Project Scorpio is going to be the big thing. Last year, we know that they had spent a lot of time talking about their products being playable on both the PC and
the Xbox One S, which I called.
Xbox One S, which you called.
And I think that this time we're going to focus on the Scorpio and, of course, Windows 10. They're going to keep pushing that as Xbox Anywhere.
Xbox Play Anywhere.
And Play Anywhere. And they're going to focus on the fact that Scorpio is not just advanced in terms of graphics, because that's what the PS4 Pro does. They're also going to be really pushing the VR functionality. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And because they just announced Microsoft's own VR headset, and they might want to incorporate that in terms of with the Scorpio.
Yeah. So I would think that it's going to be due in the fall. They'll announce it fall. They might even give it an actual date. They tend to be very specific sometimes. Definitely not one of those shadow drops. They're not going to be like, it's out now!
No,
that doesn't
not for Scorpio.
No, that's not going to happen for Scorpio, because it's going to come out with the game alongside it. Also, I think it will cost $4.99.
That is about right.
Because I would like them to keep the price lower, but I don't know if they can do that.
Based on the hype, I feel it's going to cost more than the PlayStation 4
They're
Pro.
going to try and make it make it bundled with something to make it worth the $500.
Probably a Pro controller.
Yeah,
maybe.
one of those elite controllers. And also, they're going to emphasize, and this is my stance, they're going to emphasize heavily about every game makes use of the 4K resolution the system has to offer. 4K, because
4K is okay, but I want better optimization so it's running smoothly.
They're going to say buzzwords like, this is the strongest video game console ever produced.
Well, they were doing that before.
Yeah, so they're definitely going to use it. All the buzzwords you saw in that teaser trailer, it's a monster. You're gonna hear it. You're also going to see a lot of words from third parties. They're definitely going to be happy about it. They're going to be like, it's a great thing. I can do whatever I want. Great for open world games, and they're going to hype the heck out of it. After they announce the system, they're then going to get into the actual games that really make it. And of course, you discussed it kind of briefly, VR.
My thought was that things like Oculus Rift and Vive, and even the Microsoft's VR systems are all going to work and be compatible with the Scorpio.
I'm at least leaning on the former and the latter. I don't think Vive is going to be playable
because of Steam.
Not because of Steam, but because of the whole candlelight system.
Oh yeah.
On top, or what it's called. But on top of that, I also think that because they had that deal with Oculus, that they're not going to do it with a competitor as well.
They could launch the Scorpio with Minecraft VR.
Well, that's the thing. They could definitely launch some VR products for Scorpio to really push the VR concept. In fact, one thing I have listed is that a VR AR title showcase and or a major title from Microsoft that pushes VR.
Like a Halo VR or something crazy like that.
Yeah, like an experience or otherwise. Would be a really good push for the system to really emphasize that you can play this on Windows 10. So that way they don't say, no, you don't need to buy a Scorpio. You can just put it on your PC. So they're not going to mention to people that you can't play those games on your Xbox One, mainly because it can't really run the system unless they do a really low resolution. But one game I think they're going to push for Scorpio is Crackdown.
Crackdown 3, was that the one?
Crackdown 3. I'm saying just Crackdown because I don't know if they're going to reboot the series. They didn't even show a 3, I think, when they showed off the trailer the one time.
From when I was looking at Crackdown, basically new stuff about it, it has apparently cloud tech to make stuff work properly with interconnecting the networks and everything.
The idea was that by using the cloud, the game could then render a lot more in the form of the physics. So if you shot a building, the entire cloud and server would go, okay, how does a building collapse? Let's make this look a lot better than it would if we just used the system internally.
And this is something they're probably going to push with Scorpio, is online connectivity and all that kind of stuff.
I think that they might...
The Scorpio might be what the Xbox One was originally going to be.
Yeah, I think that's why I think Crackdown was so big on the online multiplayer component. But I also think that in some void in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, could this be the way that they say, hey, if you're playing on a normal Xbox One, you're going to use the cloud service. But on Scorpio, you don't need to. You could just play on Scorpio and it does it fine. You know, like that's what that could possibly be a factor, but I think that might be putting too much
differentiation,
too much faith between the two, between the versions. I think it should be one or the other, frankly, and it's going to be probably the former.
Speaking of online, Sea of Thieves by Rare. It's been developed. We've seen it twice so far. So this is the 33 or 33. Now, I liked what I saw last E3.
Last E3 was great.
It showed a lot of craziness. I want to see more missions being done instead of just wandering around in the. I want to actually see what you can do in this world besides hang with your friends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're going to probably see like more like story elements or like maybe like missions, monsters. They kind
monsters.
The
that's something we haven't seen yet. Like sea monsters. We're on the sea for Pete's sake.
Yeah, we've seen like skeletons.
Yep.
And actually, they did that one trailer where they showed like them
some monsters under. Yeah.
So there's a lot of potential, but that was like a story. That was like a kind of teaser
cinematic. It wasn't in-game.
So they're probably going to do another trailer or gameplay demo of it. The game is been in beta for a while or in alpha. I suspect they're going to announce a beta or early game access or whatever they call it. Mm-hmm. That's going to come out and it's going to release this holiday. So last year they announced State of Decay 2 with a teaser trailer.
Yep.
Yeah, they really didn't show much of the game last year. They showed like a guy walking, and then it was turned out like a party of 4 or something. So the game is clearly going to be multiplayer based,
like Left 4 Dead or something.
Like Left 4 Dead. We don't have much to say other than the game of that because I frankly don't remember much of State of Decay 1.
We can get into it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wasn't much into it. So, but it's definitely going to be there. It doesn't make sense for it not to be there because it's been a year. That game probably definitely would fit into the category of zombie games, which it seems Microsoft doesn't have. So
yeah, that's a good one to fill. Slot to fill. Now, last year they had Forza 3. Right?
Forza Horizon.
Horizon 3.
And that was in Australia, and that looked really sweet.
It was really nice. But we're suggesting there might be a new Forza Horizon.
Yeah. A new Forza proper game by Turn 10, because the last games were made by other developers. This Forza game probably would fit into the category of both VR concepts.
Yep.
And also emphasize the beautiful graphics of the Scorpio.
If you buy the driving simulator...
Yeah. By the way, while you're seeing gameplay footage, you're going to see it say, footage seen on Scorpio, or better on Scorpio.
Okay, or I think most of what we're going to be seeing will be Scorpio.
And I guarantee it.
And I don't think they're going to focus anything on the One S anymore. I think they're just going to say, here's Scorpio stuff, and people are going to be like, wow, this looks really good, but it's not going to look like that on the Xbox Ones available right now.
Yeah. So then we move on to the indie side of things. So
Microsoft's been pretty good with indies in terms of discussions.
Yeah.
More so than Sony has in recent years. They've been very quiet on that. Even Nintendo's been very quiet, except they have their own little Nindies thing.
Yeah.
But they actually are nice to include them more often in their conferences.
Yeah, like last year they had the We Happy Few. But this year they're going to have some new games that also fall into that game early access product, as well as just new indie games. For one, this kind of leaked out, I think, Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
So Ori and the Blind Forest was
the first game.
The first game was a very artistic piece. It was like a Metroidvania style. People really loved it, and it's really good visually and very good platforming wise.
Yep. And they also released an Ultimate Edition or a Special Edition, which came also to Xbox One. This is the perfect time as any to release a sequel.
Yep.
And so a sequel would be, even if it's a teaser trailer, would be a nice way to really get there. Also, the developer of Ashen has been kind of quiet. Ashen was last year, I believe, or the year before. I think seeing that again would be nice. Definitely going to be a montage. Cuphead will probably make appearances there.
I really wish Cuphead would come out.
Cuphead should come out.
Same thing with Below.
Below probably should come out. But I also think we'll see another indie game, an indie darling, that's going to appear as an early access game. And I think that game is going to be PUBG, or PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
I'd be surprised if it does, because it's doing so well on the PC market. But again, releasing on a console might be a game changer.
Yeah, I mean that would be a big one. Either that or another indie game that's been kind of being developed in the sidelines and now going to be seen going forward. They actually had a long time for We Happy Few. They had a full
it was a hefty portion of it.
Yeah, so it'd be nice to see maybe even something more cinematic also fill that gap. But PUBG would be a really nice game to have under their belt for early access. So we kind of been talking about a lot of IPs and stuff that Microsoft's been working on, but does Halo have a chance?
I did mention Halo VR.
You did.
I did mention that.
You did.
If it's going to be Halo 6. It'd be 6 already.
It'd be Halo 6. It's actually the 7th Halo game, but...
yes, but it would probably be...
I think it's the 8th. But either way,
if they're going to announce a new Halo game, a numbered Halo, it's going to be a teaser.
At best.
Or it's going to be that Halo VR I mentioned, that rumored
Yeah.
VR, because that's something people might be really behind. Oh, I can fight the Covenant in VR? Sign me up.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a numbered Halo game. I think a Halo experience or spin-off that uses VR would be a brilliant...
Was ODST?
Yeah,
Maybe a new Halo ODST.
Halo VR experience would be pretty nice. I think I'm not going to lie.
They could remake the original Halo in VR.
People would probably be down for that.
I would be down
I'd be
for
down for
that.
that. On top of that, we mentioned VR games as well. Would definitely be a big thing. Halo in VR would be a great thing.
And then
But
we
go to the third parties.
Third parties, yes. So Ubisoft is probably going to announce Assassin's Creed. They may be at Microsoft's conference.
Yeah, I mean they were there last year with the Division.
Yes, that's why I'm
so-
assuming we're going to see more.
So we're going to see.
Ubisoft.
I think Ubisoft being there is kind of guaranteed. So seeing Assassin's Creed might make sense. Square Enix was there last year too to show off a demo of Final Fantasy 15, which was poorly done. But
remind me of that.
but I do think we will see some form of Square Enix presentation. I'm hoping Final Fantasy 15 DLC would be among it. In the air. It's up in the air.
Well, yeah, we're not going to see anything from Final Fantasy 7 this year.
No, Final 7 is not going to happen.
And if Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be shown anywhere, it's going to be at Sony's conference. So probably you're right. 15's DLC makes most sense.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Warner Brothers.
Yeah, Warner Brothers hasn't really been present at Sony's. Actually, it's outside of Batman.
Batman is the IP they push.
I think outside of Batman, Warner Brothers hasn't really had a huge presence for Sony's platforms. So I think this would be an opportune time to see Lord of the Rings: Shadow of War would come to the Microsoft press conference, because that game comes out this fall, if I recall. So that game needs to be present somewhere, and Warner Brothers ain't doing a press conference, so it's got to appear. Nope. It's going to appear one of the two, even if it's a trailer form. I have here listed on our list for the side Rocksteady games, but I think they'll probably appear in Sony. Now that I think about it, but
it's hard to tell. The third parties love to go back and forth.
Yeah, so that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch what happens, what games get announced where.
But overall, for me, Microsoft's conference is going to focus on the Scorpio.
Yeah. So I mean, the big theme of the show is.
We didn't say anything about Minecraft on that list.
You know what? Minecraft. Oh my gosh.
Minecraft's VR.
Yeah.
We mentioned that at the beginning too.
Well, we're gonna go back around. There has been discussion that Minecraft Story Mode Season 2.
By Telltale.
Was that officially announced? Or was
no, that was it was brought up by the Australian ratings board.
So I think that's going to be announced as well. So Minecraft Story Mode 2, which will be first on Xbox Scorpio. Or whatever they call it, because it's not going to be called Scorpio. No one ever names their product after the first product they announce it as.
Yeah.
It's not.
If they call it the Xbox Scorpio 1,
Natal.
maybe Xbox Scorpio 1. Maybe
Scorpio 1.
I don't know.
Why are you here? I do this by myself.
So again, VR and Scorpio are going to be the major focuses.
Yeah. So the big theme is everything's better with Scorpio.
Yeah.
It's they're going to push.
VR is better, graphics are better, games are better, online presence is better. Everything's better with Scorpio.
Yeah, buy a Scorpio. We want you to buy a Scorpio, or if you can't buy a Scorpio, you can buy on PC, because we've been talking about that the whole time. We didn't talk about the Xbox Game Pass, which they might mention offhand. Be like, hey, you can buy the Xbox Game Pass.
If they bring up
and play
services, they'll bring that up.
Yeah, they'll bring up Game Pass.
Yes.
Which I think they might push to the 4K of Xbox Scorpio. Be like, you could play all these games and stream them all perfect to your system directly through Xbox Scorpio and the Xbox Live Arcade services. So something like that. In terms of big guesses, do you have a big guess for what you think we are going to get? Or the big hopes and dreams?
What's yours first?
Well, mine is that Fable will return. Fable was closed with Lionhead, and I think that is a chance for it to be reborn in some way. I think Fable's getting reborn.
Okay. Mine is the usual norm, Banjo-Kazooie. Every year! I want to see Rare bring some old IPs. They had that Rare replay game collection, and you want to know things like Perfect Dark and Banjo-Kazooie, and you look at those games and you go, those are some really good games. Why can't we see more of those? Now, of course, they did make that Perfect Dark Zero game, which was not good.
It's been out 10 years since that game came out.
Hey, they could remaster Perfect Dark Zero. Now we did bring up VR, so maybe they'll do a Perfect Dark VR, or they'll just make a new Banjo-Kazooie game. Hey, I can dream, can't I?
You can. I mean, I'm not able to stop you from dreaming. It's a condition.
Ha!
So that finishes off Microsoft. After this, we're going to hop into another game company having their press conference on Sunday. But technically it's happening on Monday.
Because it's at 12 o'clock where we are, so midnight. Bethesda. So we'll check that out.
Yeah, in a
And
bit.
yeah, let's jump right there.